ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
In the back.
Matt, thank you very much. How do you counter the argument that not striking back against Iran represents an appeasement of Iran?
So I would say that if you look at the actions that we took over the weekend, they were incredibly successful, first of all. That is, I think, the number one fact that needs to be established, that the United States showed that we are committed to the defense of Israel, and not just that we are committed to the defense, but that we can be successful in the defense of Israel. And we demonstrated that, and the Israeli military demonstrated that by shooting down the vast majority, overwhelming majority of the more than 300 missiles and drones that were launched by Iran. And then when it comes to Iran, we continue to hold them accountable for their actions, for their destabilizing activities. We have, as I said, imposed more than 500 sanctions on Iran since the outset of this administration, and we have made clear that we will continue to hold them accountable for their actions. And we think it's important, as I said, that everyone in the international community condemn Iran, and we've been engaged in diplomatic conversations to that regard over the past few days.
But in a region where deterrence counts for so much, the fact that Iran was able to fire ballistic missiles at Israel proper,
unsuccessfully. Well, largely unsuccessfully.
Yes, but
it is. I only say it because it is an incredibly important distinction that they were largely unsuccessful because of the work that we did with Israel.
But you could argue that that was in part a consequence of the 12 days or so that they publicly announced they were going to do something. But does it not, the fact that they were able to do it largely unsuccessfully, does that not, for them, give them some sense of deterrence, of re-establishing their own deterrence, which is a problem, is it not, for Israel and America?
So you can make all sorts of arguments, but at the end of the day, I'm going to look at the results. And the results that we were able to achieve with Israel, yes, in part through our preparation, in part through our decades-long security agreements and security cooperation, is that we were able to repel that attack, and only a very small number of them succeeded. Ultimately, though, I think the point that I made continues to stand, is that we're going to continue to work to hold Iran accountable. Iran didn't start these destabilizing activities over the weekend. They have been a destabilizing force in the region going back for decades, and that is why you have seen us pursue not just actions to hold Iran accountable, but ultimately to isolate Iran. And when you go back to the broader policy that we have been pursuing, that includes normalization between Israel and its neighbors, it is to isolate Iran. So you see an Iran that is cut off from the rest of the region, and an Israel that is more integrated, which ultimately we think is the long-term answer to the very real security challenges that Israel faces.
Can I just follow up on that?
Let me just, because I have a lot of others. Let me just go and show.